Hello, everybody. Welcome to Browns and Beyond, your home for Cleveland Browns content, NFL content, and other sports content. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you stay locked in with all the latest sports content. And most importantly, drop us a comment. We want to hear your thoughts. All right, boys, here we are. It's a chilly Thursday in Akron, Ohio. And guys, how you holding up? We had a hell of a playoff weekend to start off, was it the wild card round there? And Dave, what was your thoughts on wild card round? And how you doing, buddy?
Well, I'm trying to stay warm, first of all, with all the snow that we got here today. But yeah, Brent, as far as the wild card weekend, it was incredibly enjoyable. We had some great football games. The first four games were exciting. We kind of tailed off a little bit at the end there. Those last two games weren't as competitive as maybe we thought they might be. But the first four games, especially that day on Saturday, was really incredible. And I know we're going to get into that today, so I'm excited to talk about it, Brent.
Yeah, I am too. I was really excited about the Josh Allen getting the big win there, and we'll be getting into that in your review there, Dave. But that was kind of the happy. The Bears, I know that was kind of like, yeah, you wanted the Green Bay, and another Green Bay getting bounced again. And, it's just, but I was happy about that Josh Allen moment because we really, Josh Allen has kind of got he's got a path to the Super Bowl this year, because KC's not there, and hopefully Josh Allen and Buffalo can get it done this year. Steve, how are you doing, buddy? A little chilly today at Laconis?
Oh, man, Brandon, it's been cold. I've been shoveling snow earlier in the day and before we opened. And, yeah, it's cold here, guys, at Laconis. Woo. But I'm ready to talk football. Yeah, it was an exciting weekend. A lot of close games, especially the earlier ones like Dave mentioned.
Yeah, Retzer got his big W on the New England Patriots. I know he's pretty happy about that. We'll get into that as well. So we will start out here with our first topic. What is your take on the Mike Tomlin kind of step down, kind of going separate, parting of the ways into Pittsburgh Steelers? And what possibly is the next step for Mike Tomlin? Where do you think he can land up? Think he'll end up as a coach, or do you think he might be a TV gig or take some time off? Let's start with Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, give us your insight on the Mike Tomlin situation.
Yeah, Brent, Mike Tomlin out in Pittsburgh, I believe the term is stepping down from this position. I mean, he had went to the Roonies and apparently said that it was ready. It was time. The Steelers were eliminated from the playoffs in a 30-6 loss to the Texans on Monday. Steve's going to get into that in his review. Tomlin's seventh straight postseason defeat dating back to 2016. Hard to believe it's been that long since the Steelers have won a playoff game. He spent 19 seasons as the Steelers head coach. He won a Super Bowl in his second season following that 2008 season. He would lead the Steelers back to the Super Bowl following the 2010 season. That's where they would fall to actually his now quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, in that great run by the Packers as they ran through the playoffs, defeating the Steelers in Jerry World to give Rodgers his only Super Bowl victory. Tomlin had a 5-11 record in his last 16 postseason games. It just wasn't very good in the postseason. He would never have a losing season in his 19 years as coach. That's still very impressive, guys. To me, that shows stability. Wouldn't you say, Steve? I mean, to go 19 seasons without a losing season, that's unbelievable when you think about it.
Yeah, Dave, that is unbelievable. I wouldn't say many people can do that. I know Pittsburgh's got a great organization. We're not big fans of them. But
right.
The Roonies and the guys before them, but they really have a nice structure, and they do things right there. And Tomlin is an excellent coach. I was actually surprised by the move, to be honest with you. I think he still could have went on for years, but if he felt it was the time, then I'll agree as well. But, stepping down was the right thing. You definitely couldn't fire him, I don't think, doing as well as he did.
Yeah, he did get off to such a good start as the Steelers coach. He inherited a really solid team from former head coach Bill Cowher. It certainly, helped that he inherited a franchise quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger. It was interesting to see how the Steeler teams were built over around Big Ben over that time frame. You know, me and Brent talk about roster construction is something that we find fascinating with teams. You know, those early Steelers teams that Tomlin coached were built around a great defense with Big Ben. Then starting around that 2013, 2014 time frame, they went more to teams built around offense with Big Ben. You know, they had the killer bees with Big Ben, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell. I found it interesting that those early teams got to 2 Super Bowls with winning one, but those later offensive teams never reached the Super Bowl. I think there is something to that. Wouldn't you say, Brent?
Yeah, I'll get right into that. I mean, in my mind, I feel like there's one reason for that, and that's it. And it wasn't Big Ben, and it wasn't the head coach. It was just the fact that they never really solidified the offensive coordinator job position at Pittsburgh.
That's the point.
They never did. I'm not, you know, some names are coming a little bit blank here. One of them was a coordinator with the Cleveland Browns.
Remember, Matt Canada was one, right?
Canada.
Pretty bad for Pittsburgh.
Well,
they needed him out of there.
Well, I'm going to throw in a point that we make and we found this out with Wild Card Weekend. As important as it is to have your coach, Brent, and to your point, it's important to have your coordinators. And that 08 team had Bruce Arians run his offense and Dick LeBeau run his defense. So he had 2 great coordinators run his offense and run his defense.
Absolutely. So Dave is spot on. So let me just kind of give some insight on this. I know everybody wanted John Harbaugh to be the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. There is one problem with him. And there's also another problem with Mike Tomlin. They are leaders of men, and that is great. And Steve knows that's important because we talked about it. However, you got to shore up your coordinator position.
Right.
You have to.
Well,
yeah, Tomlin wasn't doing that the last how many years, guys?
10 years.
What's the best hire that Mike Vrabel made, Steve?
Josh McDaniels, for sure.
To run that offense. Exactly.
Yep. Defense is very important. You got to have good defense, but you got to be able to score in today's NFL.
And the one problem I have with Tomlin and Harbaugh, even though they're good coaches, I would even say the word great. They're great coaches. They just never could land that top coordinator. And it was just you're right though, Dave. In the older years of Tomlin, his first 7-8 years, he did have some of that.
Yeah, he had solid ones in the early years.
No,
that's
right. In recent years, he did not, and that is why Tomlin fell short. I don't agree with people. I think Steve's got buddies that are Pittsburgh, and they don't like him, and I don't like Tomlin, and they're not. It's simple. Get the coordinator right. I am shocked they didn't get the coordinator. I do not think Mike Tomlin underachieved, though. I don't.
Well, I'll say this. You know, first of all, let's talk about the Steelers as an organization in this job, and then I will close with my thoughts on Tomlin.
Sure.
You know, this has been a paragon of stability in the NFL as far as the Steelers. They will look now for only their 4th head coach since 1969. That's just unbelievable when you stop to think about it, especially with what we've gone through here in Cleveland. The Steelers will almost certainly have a major decision to make a quarterback this offseason. We're going to get into the Aaron Rodgers situation when we talk about the review of the game. But this could be his last season at quarterback. And you look at the Steelers' job, you know, they're uncertain at quarterback. This defense has seen better days. They don't have a lot of good skill players on offense outside of DK Metcalf. I'm going to throw it out there, guys. Thoughts on the quality of this job? Let me start with Steve, and then we'll go to Brent.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, Dave. I think it's still an excellent job to take. The Rooneys, in my opinion, are still good owners. It's a winning organization. The fans are behind them. If I was a head coach and I'm looking for a job, I'd want to go to Pittsburgh. I really would. I'm not a fan. We're not a fan at Browns&Beyond here, but it's a top job, Dave, in my opinion, and you should want to go there. But if you go there, plan on being there the next 15 to 20 years, or at least that's what they want. You know, they had Chuck Noll, Bill Cowler, Mike Tomlin. They don't want to get surprises or be like the Browns and hire a guy once every year, every 3 to 5 years. They want a guy, and they're going to be choosing, when they pick who they want, they plan on keeping whoever this is for a very long time, guys.
Yeah, I have different thoughts. I feel like it's a middle of the road kind of job. Yes, Steve's right. They got the Roonies, and all that. But here's the bottom line. Let's bottom line this, guys. They've been 500 for a while. That is Siberia in the NFL. You do not want to be 500. No.
That's right. That's a good point, Brent. You either want to stink so that you can maybe get that number one pick so you can get that quarterback, or, obviously you want to have at least a chance to win a Super Bowl.
Absolutely. Like that year the Browns lost in the playoffs to Kansas City.
Yeah.
So what? The Browns had a good season. That's what you want. You want it, and they weren't I don't remember their exact record, but the point is that you want to have enough umph to go into the playoffs and make a run. These Steeler teams, let's be honest, they've been good enough to maybe get in the playoffs, but they're going to get bounced in the first round. They're mediocre. So I feel like that's why I don't think this job is that great, because I feel like they're still going to be in this middle of the road, 8-8. What is it, 8-9 or 9-8?
Yeah,
they're going to be there.
And so Brent, if they get a quarterback though, they could win 11, 12 games easy.
Sure.
They're one position away. That defense can get fixed. No, just my opinion.
I know that
defense can get fixed.
But Dave, you know how this goes. Haley's comment ain't coming down.
It's tough to have Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen fall into your lap. There's a very few of those guys out there. I want to close with a couple thoughts on Tomlin. As far as Tomlin, really would not be surprised to see him take a year off, do some TV. I think he'd be good as a studio guy. He is 53 years old. I certainly expect him to coach again. We'll see about the openings after next year. But just bottom line, my final thoughts on this, Brent, I do expect Mike Tomlin to coach again. He's young enough, and I think he's going to be wanted by a team next year.
Yeah. Well said, Dave. We will get to Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, let's be honest. You got a terrible towel in your room that you're not telling us about?
No, I do not. I hate those things.
I know.
Somewhere else, right, Brent? We don't want that anywhere around us. That's for sure.
Yeah. He's got some buddies. Steve's got a lot of friends that are Pittsburgh.
And family too. It's crazy. I love them all, and I always will.
Yeah.
But it is.
Here's the best part about Steve's friends. They're all born in Northeast Ohio, and somehow they became Pittsburgh fans. We don't know how. But
they got dropped on their heads as children, or they were abused. Something happened, Brent.
Yeah, well, one of my buddies, his dad, trained him to do that, and he's a young guy, so he didn't get to see the 80s and the 90s and all that. And then another guy just decided to revolt against his father. I don't know. You know what I mean? It is pretty wild. But they're good buddies, nonetheless.
Sure. All right, Steve. Yeah, get us into this Mike Tomlin situation. Give us your thoughts.
All right. Just as we said, he unexpectedly stepped down on January 13th. As we said, 19 seasons following the loss to the Texans, and in his tenure that included, of course, a Super Bowl win against Arizona. But he also had those real recent postseason struggles. Most people are saying he will take a year off, move into the broadcasting role, like we said. You guys, he had 2 years remaining on a contract extension from 2024. As we know, he never had a losing season in the 19 years. I have listed he was 193, 114, and 2 ties. Postseason 8-12. Of course, won the Super Bowl in 09, beating the Cardinals. I was actually surprised by the move. I thought he would stick it out and do, stay there a few more years. There was rumors, and we talked about this, guys. Us three did, that whoever lost the Steelers-Ravens game would be gone. So he chose to leave right after the playoff loss. So that is something. You don't get that every year. John Harbaugh gets fired from Baltimore, and Mike Tomlin steps down from Pittsburgh. I mean, what a thing for our division. I mean, and we're looking for a coach. The man from Mars is the only guy alive.
Yeah,
I was going to go there.
Zach Taylor's the only coach in the AFC North right now.
Yeah, I was going to go there, Steve. I'm glad you said. Hey, Steve, how surprised were you that he stepped down? You mentioned, were you surprised? I thought you said you were surprised.
Yeah, it really did surprise me, Dave. I just thought that he could have won a few more years easily. So I don't know. There's been talk though for quite a few years also though. Remember I was telling you a lot of my friends that are fans here say, yeah, you keep him. And I agreed. Yeah, I would keep him. I would hire him as my Browns coach. And then you got fans that live in Pennsylvania. Believe it or not, Dave, I get my food truck delivery, Performance Foods, and they come out of Pittsburgh. And some of those drivers that deliver the food, they wanted him gone, actually. And I go, are you kidding me? I go, could you imagine being a Browns fan where you're losing almost every season or you win one in 4 years or so? I go, that's tough. See, like they're kind of spoiled a little bit out there in Pittsburgh, meaning that they expect to win, that they're not going to settle for just getting there. And as we know, that they haven't won a playoff game since 2016. That's a long time.
Wow.
With him, he's likely to take maybe a TV deal. Should he want to coach again for the Steelers? The Steelers hold his rights. So if he chooses to coach elsewhere, it would likely require a trade, guys. The Steelers would need to approve a trade, bringing in significant compensation, similar to the Sean Payton deal, guys. If you guys remember, Sean Payton was traded to Denver for a 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 second-round pick, and that's how the Saints got him. I don't know if everyone remembers that.
I do.
And then the Saints, I believe, got like a third-rounder in addition. But I think Tomlin was smart to do it this way, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers were even smarter since they can get draft picks if a team wants him bad enough in the future. So kind of a good move. I do think he will go back to coaching, gentlemen. I do think that's for sure. He won't. Bill Cowher, remember, he left for TV and he never went back.
That's
right. There was thoughts that Bill Cowher was going to go back, and he chose to stay. Tomlin's a little too young yet. I think maybe he does do TV for a year. I think teams will be after him. Here's what I would say: if he got fired, I'd be interested in him for a Browns coach. But we need our draft capital personally in Cleveland, so that would be the only way I would want him in Cleveland. I would not want to have to trade draft picks to get Tomlin, guys. So I will say that I do think he does TV for a year, but I do think kind of like Sean Payton, I think people will be hopping after him after next season, guys.
Okay.
All right. We will get into the playoff review. We will start with the Panthers and the Rams. And I had that game this past weekend, and we'll get going on that. So in a wild card thriller that shattered expectations, the Los Angeles Rams narrowly escaped an upset with a 34-31 victory over the Carolina Panthers. Despite being a double-digit underdog, Bryce Young and the Panthers showed incredible heart, erasing an early 14-0 deficit, clawing back to take a late 31-27 lead following a clutch block punt. If you remember, Dave, I was texting you. I kind of thought Carolina was going to take that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, a couple things, Brent. First of all, I don't think this was the best game by Matthew Stafford in the world. I have to say this, and he is, I would pick him for MVP like a lot of other people. But you look at that end of the first half is where I think this game got really interesting and competitive. I thought there was a chance there where the Rams were going to kind of like pull away. He had a shot, like a vertical route to Adams down the sideline that would have been an easy touchdown. He missed it. And then, the Panthers were able to go down and make it 17-14. Remember, they had a chance, the Rams, to go down and extend it to 24-14 at the half, but Puka, who's been, to me, one of the 2 or 3 best receivers in the NFL, dropped a sure touchdown right before the end of the half. So, to me, the Rams' offense wasn't quite clicking. Stafford also threw a third-quarter interception, but the Rams just seemed a little bit off offensively and kind of opened the door a little bit for the Panthers, I think, in this one, too. Although I credit the Panthers for playing really well in this one. And I agree with you. I was worried late that they might pull it out.
I always said this about the Rams. I think they're a good home team. I think on the road, they play close. They just do. And a lot of teams are kind of like that to some extent, but I did not see a blowout. I think this one, Steve Retzer even said he thought the Rams would cover the 10.5 line. Remember that, Steve?
Yeah, guys. Before this game started, I picked the Rams. I thought they'd win by about 10, and Carolina would have to come back to even get that touchdown to win by 10. I'll admit this. I was totally wrong on this one, guys. The Rams can be beat. I mean, I want to say it. Everyone they're kind of untouchable, guys, and they're not. This is anybody's year this year. And Matthew Stafford, now I want to go against that MVP vote. You know what I mean? Like,
well,
he can be beaten. They can be beaten. I'm just saying.
Go ahead, Dave.
Just one last thought before Brent, kind of wraps up his thoughts on this one.
Mhm.
I will say Stafford did come through when his team needed him most, though, guys. Let's remember.
He did.
Yeah, they did win the football game. You're right.
Right. And you never have to apply. This is a tough league. I mean, to think you're going to beat everybody by multiple scores or what have you, it's tough. And they're playing in Carolina. They were fired up. But, in the clutch, that offense was able to deliver, Brent.
Yeah. Yep, no doubt. However, MVP candidate Matthew Stafford proved why he's one of the league's best late-game conductors, marching the Rams 71 yards in the final minutes. The drive culminated in a surgical 19-yard touchdown strike to Colby Parkinson with just 38 seconds. It was the Rams' established stars, Stafford and Puka, who ultimately silenced the Bank of America Stadium crowd, punching Los Angeles ticket to a high-stakes divisional round against the Chicago Bears.
Can I give let me give a last thought on Carolina in this one. I don't think there's anything such as moral victories, but Bryce Young was one of my players to progress before the season started. I think if you're Carolina, I think you got to be really encouraged so far this season. And I think this team, although this division was weak, we know Steve's Tampa Bay Buccaneers underachieved this year. Baker struggled towards the end of the season. They had some injuries. But if you're Carolina, you found a good number one receiver in T-Mac. Coker may have emerged as a number two. You have a solid running game. Bryce Young did some really good things in this game with his legs. He ran for a touchdown towards the end of the first half and made some really good throws from the pocket. If I'm Carolina, I'm encouraged by this season. You continue to build around Young. They could have something in the future there in Carolina.
Yeah, Dave, I was just going to mention Carolina really overachieved this year, and Tampa Bay definitely underachieved.
Yeah,
Carolina has a future. Dowdle, good running back, and him and Hubbard Chubbard or whatever.
Cuba.
Yeah. I mean, dude, they're solid, man. I mean, I think they could even do better next year, guys. They're moving along quite nice, Carolina.
All right, that kind of wraps up. I remember I had this one. I had the Rams winning this game, and that did come through.
You had it close, though, Brent.
Had it close.
Yeah, you did. I give Brent that.
Yeah, I did have a close. Yeah, I didn't have a route. So, anyways, we will get to Mr. Dave Greenshield. Dave, a little bit of heartbreak for you, buddy. Packers and the Bears. Oh,
boy. Well, the heartbreak for I'll get into the other game's heartbreak a little bit later. But Brett, the last of my Super Bowl teams bites the dust.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bears rallied from an 18-point deficit to beat the rival Green Bay Packers 31-27 in a wild card game on Saturday night. This was emblematic of the way the Packers season was going late, with Green Bay ending the season with a 5-game losing streak. The NFC North champion Bears extended their resurgent first season under Coach Ben Johnson with their 7th fourth quarter comeback victory. They've been incredible in the fourth quarter this season, finding ways to win. Chicago trailed 21-3 at halftime and 21-6 through 3 quarters, only to outscore the Packers 25-6 in the fourth on their way to their first playoff win in 15 years. Wow. This was a great game, guys. The Packers did get off to a smoking start in this one. Green Bay's offense scored 3 touchdowns on their first 3 times they had the ball. Jordan Love was good. He threw 3 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers. The first, a 7-yard TD pass to Christian Watson. The second, an 18-yard TD pass to Jaden Reed. And the third of the first half, a 1-yard TD pass to Romeo Doubs. Love would finish with 323 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and no picks. He was great in this one. He wasn't the reason they lost. On the opposite side of the ball, it was really an awful first half for Caleb Williams and the Bears. The second quarter was really rough for Chicago. They were stopped on downs twice. Williams would throw his first of 2 picks. But starting in the third quarter, that's where the momentum in this one really started to shift, at least for the Packers offense and for the worst. The Packers' first 4 possessions of the second half produced a grand total of 1 first down. Credit the Bears defense, changing up schematically in the second half. They started to bring some blitzes off the edge. They got after Love a little bit. They did a good job of limiting the Packers running game. I thought Jacobs and the Packers running game would have a little bit more success against this weaker Bears run defense, but he was held to just 6 yards on 7 carries in the second half after gaining 49 yards on 12 attempts in the first half. The Bears offense really couldn't take full advantage in the third quarter, being held to a field goal, and Williams throwing his second pick after the Bears went for it on 4th and inches at the Green Bay 6-yard line. The Bears would pull to within 21-16 on a DeAndre Swift 5-yard TD run early in the fourth quarter. The Packers responded with rookie Matthew Golden breaking 3 tackles and leapfrogging a 4th defender on a 23-yard catch and run for his first career touchdown, making it 27-16 Packers. Brandon McManus missed the extra point wide left. That would become a reoccurring theme, unfortunately, for the Packers. I'm going to get to that in a minute. The Bears were not finished. On an incredible 4th down pass, Williams found Roma Dunze to keep the drive alive. And so 4th and 8, it was Williams at his best. He showed his ability to escape the rush and with his arm talent to make a strong and accurate throw. Williams hit Olmide Zacchaeus for a touchdown with 4:18 left. The 2-point conversion was good. And because the Packers missed the extra point after Golden's touchdown and the 2-point conversion, it was a 3-point game. McManus had a shot to make up for the missed extra point with a field goal in the final 3 minutes, but he missed a 45-yard kick wide right. He also missed a field goal in the first half. Not a good day for the Green Bay special teams or their kicker, particularly. Williams led a quick drive down the field. He found DJ Moore for a 25-yard touchdown with 1:43 remaining. Great play. They ran a bunch formation, faked a screen pass. This was where the Green Bay defender, the defensive back, bit, leaving Moore wide open for the touchdown. Love wasn't done. He completed a 4th down pass to keep the 2-minute drive alive. The Packers got into Bears territory in the final minute of the game. The Packers were moving, but an injury to an offensive lineman, when they had no timeouts left, caused a 10-second runoff from 32 seconds to 22 seconds. That was big, by the way.
Man, Dave, that was a tough break for Green Bay. It's like you hope your player's okay, but it's like, come on, man, get up. We don't have time. He was legitimately injured.
Yeah.
Bad. Knocks off 10 seconds. That, between missing the field goal and extra points and then him with that was a tough break for Green Bay, Dave, no doubt.
Yeah, in a season of tough breaks. That gave the Packers limited chances at the end zone. They ran out of time. Love threw incomplete on the final play of the game. Here are some final numbers. Williams set a Bears playoff record with 361 yards passing. He had 2 touchdown passes. He did have the 2 picks. He completed 24 of 48 passes. I thought he was incredible in the 4th. If he can just be a little bit more consistent with his accuracy, he will be even more dangerous. Any thoughts on Williams on this one and moving forward, Brent, and then Steve?
Yeah, you're talking about the Packers, how they're moving forward?
No, I was talking about Caleb Williams, particularly in this game, moving forward. Yeah, he started to make a believer out of you, Brent. Where are you at on Williams in this game and then maybe moving forward? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, first of all, I think he's getting close to top 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going there. He's not. He's probably like, 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. But I'm telling you right now, he has stepped it up big time this year. And he's consistent. He made that throw at the end to get that first. Yeah. That was and that's the thing that, I know Steve likes Shedeur. But, man, do you think Shedeur can make a throw like that, Steve? Because that's a high-level throw right there. I'm being honest.
Hey, we'll find out next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steve, your thoughts on Williams in this game and maybe moving forward? How do you see him?
Yeah, Dave, he's coming along great. I mean, he's got all the confidence in the world. The difference maker was him and Ben Johnson, of course. He played great in this game. He reminded how he played in Green Bay before. A slow first half, or almost all season against really good teams. Slow first half, come alive in the third, in the fourth quarter, just shuts the other teams down. Dave, I love the one play. What was it? Was it 4th and 8? I think.
Yes, that was the 4th and 8. Yeah.
Did he hook up with the Dunze, it was right in between defenders. Not every player can make that throw. And what was that for? 20-some yards?
Yeah, that was the play of the game, because if they don't
That
get
play
the
was
fourth and
awesome.
8, that the game is effectively over, because it's the Packers with that would have the ball up 2 scores with like 5 minutes left, and it's over.
They could have probably ran the clock out, and he had all the confidence in the world, and to move like he did and scramble and make that throw in between those defenders and right on the he's impressing me, guys. I got to tell you that he's very impressing me.
I'll say this. I do think that when you look at him, if he could be a little bit more consistent with his accuracy, because the first 3 quarters of this game did happen. You know, I one of the podcasts I listened to makes a good point. Sometimes he misses a few of those layup throws. You know, like there could be a receiver coming open that's got got 5 yards of separation, and he'll miss a layup throw. So if he can get a little bit more consistent with his accuracy, I'm with Brent. I think he can make that level the top 10, top 5 quarterback level. Just a closing thought on this game. Great game by rookie Colston Loveland. 8 receptions for 137 yards and just a crazy game. I want to get to my conclusion on this one before I close out. This one really leaves you scratching your head if you're a Green Bay Packers fan. They dropped their final 5 games. And this is not what they envisioned when they acquired star pass rusher Micah Parsons from Dallas. They could have used his pass rushing skills in this one, that's for sure. This loss was tougher considering Love was great. 4 TD passes, over 300 yards, 0 picks. This loss does have people questioning head coach Matt LaFleur, who I've been a fan of. The opening of the second half with all those empty possessions, like 4 straight, as I mentioned, no adjustments. It wasn't good. He is looking for a contract extension. Any LaFleur thoughts here? Let me start with Steve and then go to Brent.
Yeah, I want to keep Matt LaFleur in Green Bay, and I would sign him longer for sure. I think he should stick around. Some are saying get rid of him. One of my buddies, my friend Jake, is a big Green Bay fan, and he was very upset writing on Facebook. He goes, yes, the Browns stink, but he goes, my Packers are choke artists. Mm-hmm. Now, I do think they can get better. Jordan Love still is good. LaFleur's good with them. Yeah. They just have to come through. That kicker's got to make points too. And then if you remember, Dave, the Jordan Love to Christian Watson, that could have been a touchdown. And then we're not talking about this right now. So they're close, no cigar. You keep LaFleur and you sign him. I wouldn't get rid of him. I think that's crazy, guys.
I'm gonna have to agree. You keep LaFleur. I mean, Dave, we talked about it, and what did we say? We said, this is Jordan Love season. And guess what? That wasn't the case. He did not succeed as much as I wanted him to. He got in.
Brad, I'm going to disagree. He's not the problem there, I don't think, though. I mean, when a quarterback throws for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 picks, it's tough to put this loss on him, right?
No. I know that, but I'm talking about in totality of the whole season. I'm not talking about the specific game. I don't. What I'm telling you is I expected more out of him throughout the year. Also too, if you remember, let's be honest. Green Bay would have loved to have this game at home, and it's Chicago. I'm just telling you, the regular season mattered, and they didn't get it done. They had a so-so record. I think they even had that tie. Didn't they go? They had a tie with.
They tied with Dallas.
Yeah. So
the Browns made it for crying out loud. The Browns.
I don't think Love had a great year. I don't think he had a terrible year. I think he was average, maybe a little bit above average, but I expect more out of Love. Go ahead.
Last thought, I think the Parsons loss was huge for them too. He's one of the top 5 defensive players in the game, in my view. As far as the Bears, wow. Green Bay dominated Chicago for years, but the momentum in the NFL's longest running rivalry may be turning with the Bears beating the Packers for the 3rd time in its past 5 games. This team has just found ways to win, when it matters most, especially in the fourth quarter. As I mentioned, those comeback victories in the fourth quarter. What Ben Johnson has done this season has been simply amazing. This offense led by Williams has been great. It's crazy to think of the Bears as an offensive team right now. It'll be interesting to see if the Bears can keep this momentum going. They host the Rams Sunday at 6:30, and which should be an interesting one. With Williams and Johnson, we should not doubt them. Brent, at least yours truly shouldn't after this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, we will get to Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, we got the Patriots and Chargers, but I was going to tell you, we might, Dave and I, we've invested in a big in ship these containers, and we decided,
Here we go.
that our ship, it actually it's similar to the ship in that movie. What was that? The Castaway movie, and we decided we're not gonna let Herbert go. I don't want him to starve, and we're gonna drop food like MREs, like military, and we're just gonna throw it on Fraud Island and say, hey man, have fun, hope you don't starve, and keep talking to that volleyball. Is that okay?
Oh my goodness, Brent. Oh my goodness, Fraud Island.
Well, we don't want him to starve because he's the only one on it right now. And what did I tell you? He's gonna lose. He's gonna lose. And he did. I know they got offensive line problems. I get it. But anyway, Steve, go ahead. Patriots and Chargers, and get us into that matchup.
Yeah, Brent. I thought New England was going to blow them out worse than they did. Let me get into this. In a defensive slugfest that felt more like old school football than a modern shootout, the Patriots defeated the Chargers 16-3 in the wild card matchup. The game was defined by missed opportunities for the Chargers and a stellar defensive performance by New England.
I have a thought here. I want to give the Patriots defense some credit here. I thought their pass rush in this game was pretty effective. Obviously, a lot of that had to do with, the offensive tackle situation. I mean, it's been an ongoing problem. When you lose two really good offensive tackles in, the situation that they have there with the Chargers, it's been festering the entire season. But credit the Patriots. The blood was in the water. They ran some blitz packages, really got after Herbert in this one. I think they ended up getting like 6 sacks. He was really beat up. I'll get to Herbert here in just a second, but I want to give the credit where credit is due to that Patriots defense. I thought that, they did an excellent job of shutting down. They played a ton of man coverage in this, this one. And, you could see downfield, the Chargers receivers weren't getting a lot of separation in this one as well. That's one thing I noticed. So they did an excellent job of man coverage, and they actually lost their best corner. Christian Gonzalez left this game. So I thought they did a good job on the back end in coverage. They did a good job of pressuring, taking advantage of probably that weak Chargers offensive line. It was an excellent defensive performance by the Patriots. Wouldn't you say, Steve?
Oh, for sure, guys. The game was a low-scoring affair for the majority of the night. Both defenses dominated the red zone. The Patriots held a slim 63 lead at halftime after a pair of field goals by Andres Borregales. The Chargers had an early chance to take control after an interception that put them at the Patriots' 10-yard line, but a massive goal line stand by New England forced a turnover on downs.
Huge momentum play. Yep.
That many consider the turning point of the game, guys. The Patriots finally broke the game open in the fourth quarter when Drake May found former Charger Hunter Henry for a 28-yard touchdown. That was the only touchdown of the night, guys. Pretty unreal there.
Yeah, May took some sacks, but you know what?
He did.
He hung in there. He did a pretty good job for the most part of holding on to the football. It was his first playoff start. I knew Jesse Minter and that Chargers defense would make life difficult on them. They did, but their defense, kept the game, where it needed to be, and he was able to put together that one big drive, Steve, in the fourth quarter when they needed to, basically put it away.
Absolutely. And Drake May, despite a shaky start, he threw that early interception. He finished with 268 yards passing in that game-sealing touchdown. He used his legs effectively. He rushed for 66 yards also, guys. And the Patriots defense, this unit was the real MVP, sacking Justin Herbert, I guess Brent calls him the fraud, 6 times in holding the Chargers to just 159 passing yards.
I want to give my Herbert thought. Yes, I mentioned the offensive tackle situation. I thought the play calling could have been a little bit better. They probably should have put a little bit more emphasis on the run game. And typically Harbaugh offenses want to run the football. I thought Marion Hampton might have been a little bit dinged coming into this one. And it didn't help his receivers were getting separation. But Brent, you're right. It's time to put him on the island. I thought Justin Herbert was missing some open throws.
Yeah.
Some of those sacks were on him, maybe for holding the ball. He could have thrown it away in a couple of situations. He's got to do a little bit better job. He could have done a better job of recognizing pressure. This is the third time we've seen him in the playoffs not come through for his team. You know, you only get so many bites at the apple. And this was not a good performance by Herbert. You may have finally convinced me, and I've been a Herbert defender, Brent.
Yeah. And just as I said, I told you at the beginning of the year, I thought Lawrence the fraud. I don't think so anymore. Even with the loss,
Yeah.
Lawrence performed.
Yeah.
So, you know, but Herbert, he's a no-show in the playoffs. I just, you know what? He's got that big arm. There's just something about that guy. He just cannot get it done. He just can't. So,
Yeah.
Steve, any final thoughts on this game? Any final thoughts?
Oh, yeah, guys. I mean, it was a playoff nightmare for Herbert. He struggled under constant pressure. He's 0-3 the postseason now.
Jeez.
Failed to get to the end zone. Pretty bad for Herbert there. Ramondre Stevenson, New England, he provided the offensive spark when needed. He totaled 128 yards, 53 rushing, 75 receiving. As I said, he's been doing good receiving as of lately, including a crucial 48-yard run and catch. The Patriots, meanwhile, advanced to the AFC divisional round, marking the first playoff win of the Mike Vrabel era, guys.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers head into an offseason of what ifs, having won 11 games only to exit in the first round for the second straight year. Guys, I felt Mike Vrabel outcoached Jim Harbaugh like I thought he would. I said Drake May would look like a veteran in his first playoff game, and I was right. I mean, hey, he threw for 268 yards and ran for 10 times for 66 yards rushing. Go ahead, Dave.
Steve, I got to slip this in. You did pick the Chargers to score 20 points. So if I would have told you that the Chargers would have held the Patriots to 16 points, I think you would have liked the Charger chances to pull this one out. Right?
Yeah, I picked it 31-20.
Yeah.
16-3.
Right.
But I still felt like the Patriots handled these guys.
Yes.
And the dynasty is slowly getting built as we speak. If you build it,
wow.
Go Patriots. You build it, we will come.
Retzer and his side chick.
Here we go, Brent.
I don't want to get going on that. All right. We will get into the next game. That is my game there, the 49ers and Eagles. And by the way, I was torn on this because, you know, I like my side chick, Frisco. You know that, right, Dave?
You're a Purdy guy.
Yes, I am. I am. If you remember, in the extravaganza, and even actually before the extravaganza, I told you Purdy top 10 quarterback. And you know what? I think that's true. You know, he is a top 10.
Dave, he's been talking about him in the last 2 years, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, the more I look at the 49ers, the triumvirate of Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, and Kyle Shanahan at coach are driving this football team to the success that they're having right now. Because, you know, you just have one of the best all-around running backs in the game, if not the best all-around running back, a quarterback that's leveling up in Purdy, and I believe one of the best coaches in the game in Kyle Shanahan, who has done an incredible job and does more with less compared to the other guy on the other sideline, Mr. Sirianni. I know you're going to get into that, Brent. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I had the Eagles. That was my Super Bowl pick, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, I was torn. You know, I kind of thought it could have been upset, but, you know, I was going to stick to my guns on this game. I was going to take the Eagles, and you know what? That almost came up. You know, it came in my favor, but we'll get right into it here. In the high-stakes wild card clash that lived up to the heavyweight billing, the San Francisco treat, the 49ers pulled off a gritty 23-19 upset over the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. Despite losing star tight end George Kittle to a devastating Achilles. Dave, could you believe that?
Well, let's think about this, what Shanahan is doing with this roster. I dare say if you listed the 49ers' top 10 players right now, guys, 6 of them are injured right now. If you look at Bosa and Warner on defense, Mykel Williams, their first-round draft pick on defense, now Kittle on offense. I mean, the legions are diminished here. You know, I mean, yes, they still have probably Trent Williams, Purdy, and McCaffrey. So they do have a few of their mainstays on offense, but man, that's a lot of production to lose on both sides of the ball, guys.
Yeah. It's like the 49ers don't give up and next man up and they come in and they perform and they don't give up and man, they just keep winning football games. Losing Kittle, that's huge for your team. And look what they do. They just come and win. Unbelievable.
Yep. The Niners leaned on a bend but don't break defense and some vintage Kyle Shanahan wizardry.
Yeah.
The game's turning point came on a daring trick play where wide out Jawan Jennings tossed a touchdown to Christian McCaffrey, who finished the night with 2 scores and over 100 scrimmage yards. While Saquon Barkley powered the Eagles early, Philly's offense stalled when it mattered most. Yeah, it did stall, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, let me make an observation on that, Brent. I was going to get into that in my bold P, my bold P centered around this game. I think with Philadelphia, again, we're back to how much coordinators matter. They never replaced Moore as their offensive coordinator properly. Now, to a degree, this is what comes with success. We talked about this when Tomlin lost those 2 coordinators early on in his tenure, LeBeau and Arians. You lose Kellen Moore. The offense didn't seem to be the same. You got a malcontent at wide receiver in Brown. You also have a situation where I think you still see some of the shortcomings of Jalen Hurts. When this is a Jalen Hurts dependent offense, it's in trouble. Now, the thing about it with Hurts is, again, how well does he throw the ball from the pocket, particularly on those intermediate throws? He still leaves me with some doubts there, guys. So,
yeah, no doubt about it. If Philly's offense stalled, like I said, when it mattered the most, culminating late game drought in a failed 4th down attempt that effectively ended their title defense. It wasn't the cleanest win for Brock Purdy and the company, but their resilience in the face of chaos has the stage for a massive divisional round rematch against the Seahawks. Dave, I am pumped up for that rematch, aren't you?
Yeah, it's an interesting game. I thought that, the Salah's defense did a great job on the Seahawks the last time, but that 49ers offense ran into, I believe, a top 5 defense in the league in Seattle. And Darnold just didn't screw it up last time. He took care of the ball. They were able to run the ball a little bit against the 49ers. That's going to be interesting to see this time. What does Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, did they come up with a different offensive game plan? How does Purdy look? What does that offensive game plan look like against the Seattle defense this time around?
And don't forget, Sam Darnold, Fraud Island test here. Here we go.
Well,
this is the true test, right, Brent?
To be fair, Brent, he did pass the first test by beating the 49ers the last game of the season. I know he didn't do anything spectacular in that game, but he didn't screw it up either, to be fair.
If he stinks up the joint, guess what? Herbert and him might have to share meals on the island. There you go. So.
There you go, Brent.
All right. We will get into it. Dave, this is an exciting one. Bills and Jaguars. I was looking forward to this matchup. I really was. And Dave, go ahead and give us some insight on this Bills and Jaguars game.
Well, my 2 games certainly didn't lack excitement, gentlemen. The Buffalo Bills got its first road playoff win in more than 3 decades in a 27-24 victory over Jacksonville in the AFC's wildcard opener Sunday. This was a physical battle against the Jaguars on the road. The Bills had an 0-5 road record in the playoffs under McDermott, starting with a 10-3 loss at Jacksonville in 2017. Yeah, that was a great quarterback duel. I remember at that time, it was Blake Bortles against Brown. Steve, who was our starting quarterback the year before Baker took over in 2018?
In 2018.
The quarterback that started the season.
Was it Tyrod Taylor?
Tyrod Taylor, yes. A Tyrod Taylor, Blake Bortles wild card duel in 2017. There's one for the books.
That'll put some fans in the seats, that matchup.
Blake Bortles was good at one time, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, the first Super Bowl I ever watched as a kid was Marino and Montana. Tyrod Taylor and Blake Bortles, not so much. So,
hey Dave, are you sure that wasn't a strike year?
2017.
It's a joke. Basically,
okay.
The Scabs are playing. The Scabs.
There you go. Oh, okay. There you go. Nice reference, Brent.
Okay, go ahead.
The Bills had dropped 8 consecutive postseason games on the road since winning the AFC title game at Miami following the 1992 season. It had been the NFL's second longest active road playoff skid. This was a tough one for the home team at the end of the season, especially considering the Jags were riding an 8-game winning streak coming into this one. So a tough loss for the Jags. Well, let's start with the hero in this one, and that would be the reigning MVP, Josh Allen. He took a pounding and doled out punishment as well. He completed 28 of 35 passes for 273 yards and a touchdown. He ran for 2 scores, was sacked just once, and played turnover-free football. He was awesome. He was really a one-man wrecking crew, especially considering star running back James Cook was mostly bottled up, finishing with 46 yards on 15 carries. The Bills opened up the scoring in this one. Bills caught a Trevor Lawrence interception, a design coverage. Shaq Thompson stepped in front of an in-breaking route for a pick. So not a good start for Trevor. You know, he threw a little outside route to ATM, like on a swing pass. It was high. He had the pick. He was a little jittery early in this one, but he would rebound. I'm going to get to that in a second. Thompson returned the pass 22 yards to the Jacksonville 33-yard line. Prater would connect on a 50-yard field goal with 2:54 left in the first quarter to make it 3-0. The Jags would respond in the second quarter. Trevor Lawrence finds Brian Thomas in front of the end zone to put Jacksonville in front 7-3. This is where Lawrence started to cook. The TD would cap a 7-play, 65-yard TD drive by Jacksonville. Following the Jaguars' first score of the game, cornerback Montier Brown popped the ball out of running back Ray Davis's hands on the kick return. Jacksonville had another chance and hopes to extend the lead. They could have kicked it out to maybe a 14-3 lead, by the way. Linebacker Shaq Thompson again made a big play, logged the tackle, stopping Trevor Lawrence short of a first down on a 4th and 2. This is where this was the first kind of momentum switch in this one, guys. The Jags went for it, from the Bills' 9-yard line. Lawrence was tackled just short. Allen would go on to lead a 10-play, 92-yard touchdown drive for the Bills to get into the end zone by rushing 2 yards out for his first rushing touchdown. This would be a huge momentum shift, as I mentioned in this one. Cam Little had a chance for a game-tying field goal just before halftime, but the 54-yarder was missed. He hooked the kick wide to the left. The Bills would take a 10-7 lead into the locker room. On the opening drive for the Bills, Matt Prater knocked it in through 47 yards out to give the Bills a 13-7 lead. Jacksonville got into range again for Little, where he would make a 43-yard kick, thanks to a 26-yard run by Travis Etienne, who actually had a pretty solid game in this one. The Jags would cut the lead to 13-10 with a little less than 6 minutes remaining in the third. This one really was getting cooking in the fourth, starting with the Jags. Jacksonville went 62 yards on 11 plays in 6 minutes and 3 seconds. Washington had 4 catches for 29 yards on the drive, including a score over the middle on a great throw by Lawrence. Jacksonville holds a 17-13 lead into the fourth quarter. Allen and the Bills would respond. The Bills would go 9 plays and 65 yards. Allen hit several key throws, including a key 4th down conversion with a tush push. Allen would end the drive, hitting Cade on a wheel route up the sideline for the score, giving the Bills a 20-17 lead. Here comes Lawrence and the Jags. A beautiful touch pass from Lawrence to Etienne over the top of Greg Rousseau. It was an interesting play. Lawrence did one of those plays where he rolled out, and Rousseau had to make a choice to come up and tackle, Lawrence or leave Etienne open in the flat. He chose to come up on Lawrence. He flipped it to Etienne. Etienne would take it into the end zone and, he broke a tackle on his way to the end zone. And it would end a 10-play, 77-yard touchdown drive that put Jacksonville out in front 24-20. Allen, it's your turn. He would take the lead on a 9-play, 66-yard drive. Yet another key 4th and short for the Bills. This one came at the Jags' 11-yard line. Allen broke through the line, and then he was carried 10 yards all the way to the goal line. By the way, can we get some kind of a penalty on offensive players pushing ball carriers forward for extra yards? Do you have a thought on that, Steve? I mean, what are they doing? They're just allowing, ball carriers to get pushed forward for extra yards. Shouldn't there be some kind of a whistle or a penalty on that one?
Yeah, there should be a whistle. You got to throw the flag out. I don't think they got to let him be doing that, Dave. I mean, it makes no sense at all.
Just kind of a pet peeve. It's one of those plays that just drives me crazy during games.
You're going to shut that down. I don't know if that wasn't exactly a tush push, but it falls into the same category as a tush push. Bottom line is this. I feel like this year, the competition committee, rumor has it they are going to shut that down. So look forward to competition committee in this offseason to strike that down, and hopefully next year we won't have to, because I think it's got to go. It really does. It's got to.
Guys, I mean, it is enough. You got to take care of that.
Yeah. Well, the Bills ran it again, and Reggie Gilliam shoved Allen again into the end zone for the score, making it 27-24 Bills. The Jaguars seemingly let him score at the time to preserve as much time possible for a game-winning drive. On the first play of the potential game-winning drive of this one, Lawrence's pass was tipped in the air by Tre'Davious White, who played a great game, and intercepted by Cole Bishop. It was Lawrence's second interception of the game, but again, this was a tip ball. I don't put this one as much on Lawrence. This would end. This would take us to a final of 27-24. It was a tough way for Trevor and the Jags to end the season. He would finish 18 of 30 for 207 yards, 3 touchdowns. He was intercepted twice, including on that final play for the Jags. But again, that was a tip ball. I don't put that as much on him. Again, thoughts on the QBs, Allen and Lawrence in this one. Let me go to Brent and then Steve.
Yeah. I thought Allen did a great job. He exceeded my expectations. I thought Buffalo was going to lose this, and boy, was I wrong. He stepped up. He didn't look like under pressure. It was a problem. He got it done, and I'm okay with Lawrence too. I told you, Lawrence, he competes. I was kind of impressed with his performance as well, and really no complaints. Great game. Next year for Mr. Lawrence, and we'll see. But at least he showed up, unlike Mr. Herbert. So there you go.
Steve, guys, I think Jacksonville actually overachieved this year. I know they're very skilled and they're good. As far as Trevor Lawrence goes, Dave, he had a great game and a great season. I definitely think head coach Liam Cohen has something to do with that.
Yeah.
And he's got confidence in Lawrence, and Lawrence has confidence in himself. He played a good game. I mean, to lose 27-24, not bad at all. They could have very easily won this football game too. Now to go to the other end, I did pick the Bills to win this, Dave, and I was right there. And I do want to see Buffalo get pretty far. This is their year if they have one. Josh Allen, he plays like MVP. He was an MVP, so he's going to play like it. And the one thing that makes the most valuable player is you got to be better and get your other players, whoever you have, to play good around you, to play well as in addition. We both know that he doesn't have star receivers, but he still makes enough happen to get the win. Obviously, he's got a good running back in James Cook, but and the defense plays good enough. But Josh Allen is really leading this team, and he pretty much won that game. The way I looked at it, by watching it over again, he pretty much led the Bills. A true leader, true MVP. He's going to come out strong. I mean, they got great shot at the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Just a few closing thoughts on that before I get to my conclusion. I thought Allen was incredible, especially considering the defense he faced and the fact that he doesn't have the strongest supporting cast in the world, particularly at wide receiver. I do think Cook is an elite running back, and he has a solid offensive line. I thought Lawrence was shaky early and settled into the game as it moved along. The last pick, again, it wasn't, I don't put it on him. It was a tip ball. He was trying to make a play. And the defender made a great play on that one as well. Some final numbers in this one. Travis Etienne, 10 carries for 67 yards and a TD. The Jags ran the ball 23 times for 154 yards, averaging 6.7 yards per carry against that shaky Buffalo run defense. Parker Washington, a nice day, catching 7 passes for 107 yards and a touchdown. Khalil Shakir led the Bills with 12 receptions for 82 yards in this one, so he stepped up at wide receiver. Overall, just a great game. As far as my conclusion, a hard-fought loss from Jags. This is a good football team that had a legit chance to make a Super Bowl run, especially considering how wide open the AFC is. They really did everything they needed to pull this one out. They stopped the run. They had a solid day on the ground on offense. They got a solid day out of Trevor Lawrence. I know he had the 2 picks, but I don't put the last one on him. I have feelings that Liam Cohen and Lawrence, if they just tinker with this roster a little bit, they'll be back. This team just ran into the wrong QB on the wrong day. Josh Allen is good at football. He will not let this team lose. He does not have dominant weapons on the outside. The defense still can't stop the run. And by the way, James Cook was a non-factor in this one. Yet it was Superman to the rescue. It could finally be his and the Bills' time. The Broncos at Denver on Saturday will be really interesting. It'll be interesting to see what Allen can, if he can put on his cape again, especially if it's a really good defense on the road. Brent, how could I pick against Superman to lose?
Yeah. Well said, Dave. We will get to Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, this is it. Your last hurrah, buddy. You know, the Texans, this is your Super Bowl. Actually, no.
Championship game. Yeah.
But hey, you know what? Maybe the Texans can get to the final game, or at least get to the championship game. They look pretty tough, Steve. Give us the insight on this Texans and Steelers matchup.
Yeah, Brent, I picked the Texans to make it to the AFC Championship. So, you know, I want them to keep winning, and they did just that in this one. The Texans dominated the Steelers with a 30-6 victory in this AFC wild card round. While the game was a tight defensive rock fight for 3 quarters, Houston blew it open in the 4th to secure their first road playoff win in franchise history, guys. It looked like neither team was going anywhere with the 7-6 Texans lead at halftime and into the 3rd quarter.
Steve, thought on that real quick. I actually think the Texans and some of Stroud's mistakes in this game kept this game closer than it should have been. This actually should have been an even bigger blowout, by the way. I mean, the Steelers have been doing it with smoke and mirrors all year long. They were lucky to be here in the first place. A missed kick got them here. This is not an overly strong roster, as I talked about earlier when we were talking about Mike Tomlin and what type of roster the next coach will be inheriting here in Pittsburgh. This game actually could have even been worse. The Texans defense finally blew it open in the 4th quarter. So, yeah, I really didn't have very much doubts in the Texans all the way in this one, Steve.
Yeah, Dave. You know, the announcers even referred to C.J. Stroud as playing skittish at first.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Like, it was like, I'm thinking, what is he doing out there? I was watching this. I'm like, it was pretty unbelievable at the beginning. It really was. But guys, in between rest for Woody Marks at running back, it was nice to see former Brown Nick Chubb get some carries.
Absolutely.
Guys, he had 10 rushes for 48 yards, and a few of those runs brought back some memories for me, guys. I got to say that. It was nice seeing him. He ran it pretty much in the first half, and then, of course,
Steve,
Marks the rest of the game,
especially on that field, right?
Exactly. No, exactly. In Pittsburgh, where he got injured by Minkah Fitzpatrick, I was glad to see him do pretty good on that field. He could never recover from that, but still one of my best players I've ever watched as a Cleveland Brown, and I'm happy for him for the Texans as the backup. Guys, the story of the night was Houston defense, which completely stifled the Steelers offense. Despite the Texans offensive struggling with turnovers, their defensive unit, ranked best of the league, scored 2 touchdowns itself to put the game out of reach. In the 4th quarter, it was an explosion. Houston was only leading, like I mentioned, 7-6. They proceeded to score 23 unanswered points in the final period. I mean, that's pretty unbelievable, guys. Defensive scoring. Sheldon Rankins returned a fumble. It was a strip by Will Anderson Jr., who, by the way, is my defensive player of the year. At least I want him to be. For a 33-yard touchdown, Kalen Bullock capped the night with a 50-yard pick six on what many speculate could be the final pass of Aaron Rodgers' career. What do you guys think of that? Is that
let's go there. You want to go first, Brent? On
Brent,
I don't know. He's coming back, guys. That was not his final play.
What?
Oh, he's coming back. He's coming back
to Pittsburgh too. He's coming back to Pittsburgh.
She heard rumblings. This isn't just coming from me that he is coming back. So no, he's got another year left in the tank. I think he's coming back. Yeah, and And I'll be honest, just watching him play, I don't think he plays bad. You know what I think? I think you're dealing with a bad roster. Like Dave and I were, we talked. All they got is, the one. He's got Metcalf there. I mean, what do you want him to do?
Well, he's not a bad running back, but I get what you're getting at.
Let me just say this. I think you saw glimpses of what Aaron Rodgers that he can be the old Aaron Rodgers. That fourth quarter against Baltimore to get them into the playoffs, he was incredible. He looked like he made some of the throws, some of those dime-piece throws that he made when he was prime Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay to help pull that game in the fourth quarter out to get them into this game against the Texans, help them win the division against Baltimore. So now, again, to Brent's point, supporting cast. It'd be interesting to see if he would have ended up in, Brady's situation in Tampa, where they had a good defense in 2020, and he had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin at wide receiver, and Gronk to come play with him at tight end, and Antonio Brown to come play with him at wide receiver, and he had some kind of supporting cast like that. Then maybe we could talk turkey. I think Rodgers could do some business with that type of supporting cast, but this is a weak supporting cast. They had one good wide receiver. They didn't necessarily have a good offensive line. They could not run the ball consistently. All of those things are also true. That being said, I would not be surprised to see this be it for them, because where does he go from here? I don't think he ends up in Pittsburgh. Where's he play next year?
You make a good point, Dave. You want to real quick. I don't talk about Tom Brady real quick.
Yeah.
If you remember Tom Brady, there was that last year where he goes, well, should I play or not? He decided not to play. And I remember at the time, and Dave and I don't know what you thought about it, but what I thought about it was, oh, he's not coming back because of the roster. And maybe that's what the situation is going to be for Rodgers, is he just going to look at that roster and say, you know what, I can't do this, and no one else wants him, and he's just done. You know what I mean?
I'll say this. That's why Brady left New England, because, the parts around him were dying off. Gronk got older. Edelman retired. You could see that in his last year in 2019 in New England, that he didn't. Now, he was fortunate to go to a situation like Tampa where that supporting cast was 1,000 times better than what he had in New England his last year in 2019. That's not even close. Take a look at that offensive roster that he had in Tampa in 2020 and compare it to that offensive roster he had around him in New England in 2019.
I know.
No comparison.
But that also, what you just said, fast forward a few more years in Tampa, that was also the reason why he left, I believe, is because the offensive line was actually, it wasn't holding up for him.
Well, that's true.
Well, he would have left much sooner if he was in with this Pittsburgh roster. Aaron Rodgers is expected to do too much for his age, and pretty much for into the roster he does have. He would have pulled too much on his shoulders. You know
what? That's a great point. Dave made it, and so did you. If he doesn't have to do as much, then Rodgers continuing his career makes sense. But yeah, you're right. If he's got to carry the load like that, and that doesn't really add up, does it, guys? No.
Steve, your final thought: is he playing next year? Yes or no?
I think he's going to retire, guys. That's just my feeling, and we just alluded to everything to make him go that way. I just think there'd be just no reason. I mean, we're going to make the playoffs to lose again. I mean, I don't think that he can make a deep run with this team.
Yeah,
no doubt about it. But anyhow, speaking of the Pittsburgh defense, they actually forced 3 turnovers from C.J. Stroud, but the offense could only muster 3 points on those takeaways. Woody Marks, the Houston rookie running back, he was the engine of the offense. He rushed for 112 yards and a touchdown. Remember I called these receivers the dudes?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the one that stuck out and played in this one was Christian Kirk, who I actually did like when he played for Arizona, but he hasn't quite established himself as a great receiver for Houston, but he looked nice in this one, guys.
Steve,
go ahead, Dave.
Real quick, Nico Collins injury in this one. Don't know if I doubt he's going to be playing against the Patriots this week. That could be real big in when it comes to that game this week, Patriots and Texans.
Oh, that's a huge loss. I mean, because he's your number one.
Yeah,
I hope they can get numbers like this. Christian Kirk, he caught 8 catches for 144 yards and a touchdown. I hope he can step it up and play like that, come New England. speaking of Aaron Rodgers again, it was a rough night for him. I mean, like you said, Dave, he plays great, played great in the Baltimore game. And then he comes back to like a subpar performance. He finished 17 of 33, 146 yards, an interception, and he got sacked 4 times. And it just, at Rodgers, I think he's just done. Now, TJ Watt, despite the loss, Watt was a force, recording a fumble recovery and leading to the defense that kept the game competitive until that late collapse. This loss extends the Steelers' playoff winning drought to nearly a decade. As we know, the last win was in 2016. It marks their 7th straight postseason loss. For Houston, the win sends them to Foxborough to face, of course, the New England Patriots in the divisional round. I knew the Texans would be able to handle Pittsburgh. The defense is just crazy good, guys. And Stroud is good enough to lead them to victory. Go Texans.
All right. Well said, guys. We're getting to our last segment. It is the bold predictions. And we will start with Mr. Dave Green. So, Dave, how'd your bold prediction do, buddy?
Well, it did okay. I picked Saquon Barkley to go rush for over 100 yards and a touchdown against the Niners. He would finish with 26 carries for 106 yards on the ground. He did not score a touchdown. He was the least of the Eagles' worries in a tough 23-19 loss to San Francisco. It would have been nice to see him get into the end zone, Brent. This offense in Philly never seemed right this entire season, by the way. The change at OC never worked. A.J. Brown doesn't want to be there. And you continue to see, as I mentioned earlier, some of Jalen Hurts' shortcomings at the quarterback position. They finally get Barkley in the running game going at the end of the season and in the playoffs, and it doesn't matter. It's going to be a really interesting offseason in Philly, Brent, by the way.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We will get to Mr. Steve Retzer. Steve, how'd your bold prediction do, buddy?
Well, guys, I happen to have a loss on this one, and Dave mentioned it earlier. This was out of Dave's game from the Bills and the Jaguars. My bold prediction was that Bills running back James Cook would rush for over 100 yards against the number 1 run defense Jaguars and break an 8-game losing streak dating back to 92. Guys, I ended up being partially wrong on this one. Cook ran the ball 15 times for only 46 yards, but the Bills did get the win, as Dave alluded to, 27-24, and they advanced to the divisional round. The Bills, they did win this one as a team in a group effort. So Cook, I guess, didn't need the 100 yards plus. I'm glad the Bills got the win. I'd like to see them go far in the season with the old best teams out of there. And go Bills. James Cook was short, guys. I expect a little more yards from him in this one, guys.
Steve, that's a really good defensive line. I told you about that with Armstead, Hamilton. They have those good edge guys. Josh Hines-Allen, who's really good. So
yes,
that was
they're number 1 for a reason, Dave. No doubt.
That's for sure.
All right, Steve. Well said. Yeah, well, all right, guys. We'll get to some final thoughts, and then we'll get on out of here. All right, Dave, give us some final thoughts.
Well, just overall an exciting, wild card weekend. I was on the short end of the stick, but I was on the short end of the stick, Brent, of 2 exciting football games, maybe the 2 most exciting games of the weekend, unfortunately for me. I didn't get those cupcake picks that Steve Retzer got, He gets those layups there, to pick his own games, Must be nice. I know. Must be nice.
I was still going to take Buffalo over Jacksonville. So,
yeah. You were wrong about the Packers, though, by the way. We were all wrong about the Eagles, by the way. So
I thought the Packers were going to play a little bit better, Dave.
That's for sure. But bottom line, I'm excited about the divisional round. Steve, do you have some thoughts?
Oh, guys, I'm excited. I mean, I got my Texans and Patriots playing each other. I'm real excited that, that's going to be a great one. And what else? We got Buffalo and Denver.
Yeah.
Denver, got the bye, so we haven't heard from them in a while. And we'll see how Bo Nix and Sean Payton can do playing against the Bills. I'm hoping the Bills stay hot. I'd like to see them keep doing something. I'm real excited. At NFC, same thing. Seattle 49ers will be another really good one. Those were good during the regular season. I'm excited for football, guys.
Yeah, Rams-Bears too. Could be interesting.
Yeah, Rams-Bears, yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the divisional round. I think the game I'm looking at the most would be that the Buffalo Denver game. I really want Josh Allen to kind of keep it. And I'm not a big fan of Denver. I don't think Steve is either.
I'm not either. I'm not a big Denver fan, guys. I like Peyton, but not a big Denver fan.
You know, a lot to look forward to, guys. I look forward to the cast on Saturday. And guys, have a good one. Take care.